Hello, hello, hello. Welcome back, everyone, to FPL Jedi Show. We are previewing Game Week 8. The international fixture are still on, but we are here today to discuss early the prospect of Game Week 8. My name is Hafiz, and I would like to welcome Azmin to the stream. How's your international break been so far?
Pretty okay. Not dwelling too much, not really following too much in terms of the international fixtures, but tracking a few of the players that I have an interest in, like Bowen, Isaac, So, but other than that, I haven't really looked at highlights. I'll probably do that in the next coming days. But otherwise, it's a nice restful period. And if you remember the first international break, I went into it with a red arrow. So two weeks of agony. So it was nice with the second IB to go into it with a green arrow.
Right, great stuff. We both has a green arrow. I'm up to 1.3 million and yourself 4.5 million. We take a look at our team in a bit. Okay, just refresh our mind where we are and then what should our focus be. This an interesting second international break, like you mentioned.
Yeah.
Okay, because the first one we have Game Week 1, 2, and 3, then international break. Then we have 4 weeks of matches, Game Week 4 until 7. Now this coming Game Week 8, I can see whoever has not activated their wildcard most probably will take this window to do that because there are certain teams that have fixture swing, and we shall take a look on the Game Week 8 draft, but then we compare with Game Week 6 where there might be some in terms of different players because I think the one thing that we need to point out is West Ham team will be different under Nuno's apprentice. So definitely there's some interest getting those players. Like you mentioned, Jared Bowen could be the one to come into Game Week 8 team. What do you think, Ming? Are you on mute?
So there's a lot of wildcards going on out there, and people talking about West Ham under Nuno and having Paqueta and Bowen. Some of the players coming into consideration. So the question is, whether they will have enough time. Of course, with the international break, they went away, but of course, Nuno still needs to work on the team. So it really is the question of whether have they done enough to turn the page and start scoring goals or the Ayla Forest style and even maybe keep a clean sheet. Theoretically, when you look at it, the personnel to keep clean sheets isn't quite there, but it's Nuno. He could work his magic. I underestimated him when he went to Forest, and he did well. So I'm not too keen to underestimate him now because I'm seriously looking at West Ham assets, actually, to be honest.
Right. And one team that definitely under consideration is this poster boy Saka from Arsenal. I think Arsenal is the team that people will target because it's definitely the fixture swing that coming in after some tough fixture Arsenal having for the early part of the season where they fought the likes of Manchester United, Liverpool, Man City, Newcastle, and then the last one against West Ham. So I can safely say the big chunk of the big team, they already over it, and there'll be some favorite fixture coming in, and there's a lot of attention getting three assets of Arsenal, whether double in defense or double in attack. I think that's another question.
Yeah, is that dilemma from last season in Game Week 6 where they were looking at double no defense or double attack, and if I remember correctly, for that one, the long-term winner turned out to be those with attack rather than defense. They somehow kept conceding. So let's see how this one goes for this season.
All right, great stuff. Maybe we just review a bit in terms of how we perform in Game Week 7. I scored 80 points. Yours have 75 points, so it's not far different. The average point that week 7 is 60 points. So generally, we have scored higher than the average. And you can see for my team, I think the the players that perform double digit at least. I think Semenyo, I think almost everyone has him now. I think around 60% managers already own him. Kudus turned out to deliver his first goal and 12 points. So he got yellow carded, but he produced an assist and a goal, a timely one after several missed chances prior to this game week 7. So that's where I think for Spurs, people did not really pay attention when getting the likes of Spurs asset because they want to concentrate on the defender that have DC point. VDV is not one of them, okay, but Kudus is someone that nailed for Spurs asset, and for now he still remain in my team. I think Grealish is another punt that I'm trying to attack that Everton 2 fixture when I wildcarded in 6, where they face West Ham and then Crystal Palace. But then we decided who will know that Nuno actually managed West Ham after that. And then it turns out he delivered at the last minute against Palace. So now Palace is no more unbeaten. They finally also lost a game, and Grealish was in the midst of that. Kind of like lucky in terms of getting that goal, but I think FA is also about luck, right? So I'll take that. Grealish, 1 goal, 3 bonus point. He is still the main man for Everton, but this week will be different one. I'll touch on that later because Grealish will be ineligible to play against his parent club, which is Man City this week. And other than that, I think most likely everyone going to captain Haaland. He only produced a goal and 2 bonus points, if I'm right, 16 points. So if you decided to triple captain this week in game week 7, you only got 8, but it's still a return. Okay. For myself, Gabriel, 9 points. I think clean sheet, DC point, and 1 bonus point. But for you, Juran Timber produced 11 points. So talk a bit about your team.
Right. So firstly, in terms of in the keeper side is Donnarumma. So getting his first clean sheet after I brought him in the week before. So pretty happy with that. Anderson normal lah. This Fulham Defcon guy tak berjaya. Tak berjaya pula. Getting his normal Defcon as usual, quite reliable in that sense. But unfortunately itulah, because Fulham don't look like they can keep a clean sheet. So, but at least points is points. Timber, I'm really glad I went over. But of course, that this question will come up whether should double up or not, because I did choose Timber over Gabriel, and it came good this week. Then you have Doof. Okay, so Doof, before this game, he had 4 assists in 6 games, I think it was. Yeah, so 4 games in assists. Then the last assist was against Everton with a Bowen goal, and that was when Nuno took over. Yeah, so he got the draw, and that was against Everton, and then against Arsenal. So they lost 2-0, but Doof got that gone, which is something that I don't think any of us envisaged after seeing the first few games of West Ham. It didn't look like he was one of those who'll be involved much because he's more about going forward. But the fact that he got DEFCON points here against a bigger team shows that it's one of those players who you can rely on to get DEFCON, and maybe it's thanks to Nuno as well, asking him to, getting him to be more involved in terms of the defense. I think I'm pretty sure the Nuno effect has taken place there in terms of Duke getting those DEFCON points. So very happy to have him, and I'm hoping I can get an early steal, as I wouldn't be surprised, 1 clean sheet later and he'll be the hot pick suddenly because of his attacking prowess as well. So Rangers, you've talked about Semenyo, same old. Mbuemo, who managed to get an assist, I'm pretty happy with. Over your Bruno Fernandes. So, that's basically it. When I went for Mbuemo, it's really to contest Fernandes, and thinking that you will, of course, Fernandes missing. Fernandes getting 1 point didn't help, but yeah, I'll take the assist and run. And of course, Enzo, who blanked this time around. That's another dilemma I need to figure because he might have been injured on international duty.
Oh.
Pedro, hopeless again, and he's a lock. The problem with him is he's a lock, but in right now, he didn't go for international, so he'll be fine coming in, and at the same time, he's not involved in Champions League. He's for the first next Champions League match. He's suspended. The problem is whether or not he can make it worth. The stars all seem aligned for him, but it's not happening. So it's given me reason to question that. So the other one is Isaac, who managed to get an assist. Yeah, so I do like that, but I think I read it. Was it by Klopp or by Klinsmann? I can't remember who. There was an interview. I think it was Klinsmann who was saying that. No, it was John Aldridge. Sorry, John Aldridge for Liverpool Echo. He was commenting that there's no more time. But Isaac no longer has a betting period.
Oh.
Now is the time. And saying that the Manchester United match is tailor-made for him. So if he's going to, start doing well, it has to be this week. Of course, Salah loves playing Manchester United, but it comes back to just because he does it, given this season's form has not been there, will that still happen? So there's something to think about. And of course, I have Haaland. Bench, nothing big, no biggie really. Dewsbury Hall was suspended. Then BDB Lang, they've come back. So no issues in terms of getting the wrong bench. I think I more or less got it right, unless I had bench Reinders for one of them, Van der Ven, but that's not going to happen. The question with Ballard now is that I got it wrong, that he's not a starter. I thought he would return back to the starting lineup.
Oh, is he?
But he was substituted early as they switched formation last week into a back five, but then I'm not sure. So it's an issue I have to look at. I'm not in a rush to do a bench boost yet, but if I am looking to do a bench boost, I need to look at that Ballard position if it needs changing. They lost against Manchester United. That's right, 2-0. So after the second goal, then they switched it in the early in the game into the back five. They shifted formation. So I need to look at that. But otherwise, 75 points. Happy. I increased rank by 1 million. So can't be unhappy with that one. So I'm just happy to have that green arrow. So hopefully get more green arrows.
Yep, definitely a boost for us in terms of improving our team moving forward, because there are plenty in action later. We'll take a look on the fixtures outlook upfront, what we in store for us moving forward. Just want to welcome Callum Coates. Hi to the stream, and also Muhammad Azli. Assalamualaikum. Waalaikumsalam. Terima kasih kerana join the stream. And you already post who will be our captain this week. Later we will share. All right. But maybe there will be no surprise, but we can discuss on that captaincy pick. And we have like captaincy metrics, right? Hopping off, if let's see you want to discuss on that terms, whether there is potential a different kind of captaincy for this week.
It really is just a question. If not Haaland, who? So, interesting.
Yeah. I think it's nice for us to look at team season so far. I know last time you say, after 3 weeks, barulah nothing much that we talked about. Maybe after 7 game weeks, maybe some key takeaways that we can take from here. But can you imagine the lineup will be like the formation 5-4-1? So we can see there the top 2 big dogs here is definitely Haaland, the top star, 70 points. And then the second close one will be Semenyo, 66 points. So I can say, if I may say, these two is like the 2 players that you need to have in your team, if I may say, because they are the 2 top high scorer. And Man City and Bournemouth inside is in the top rank right now in terms of league table. And they are the one to get. And I believe if you don't have these 2, most probably these are the 2 that you need to pick into your team, because I think my brother-in-law also, they asked, I do not have Haaland, I have Salah. I think I told him I think maybe it's time to change in terms of getting those players. That's what I feel, because Haaland is the big dog right now. Now, who else in the team of the season so far? Okay, maybe the next one will be, I think, the defenders. So that's why people are thinking whether big at the back or getting that 4 defender or 5 defender is the formation. Maybe we can discuss on that also later, because Timber and Gabriel are neck on neck in terms of points, 48 and 47, right? And then Mark Gale at 46, same with Senesi. And then in Dan Burn, he did produce assist, right? Last game week, Newcastle against Forest.
Yeah.
And then Pope in goal, 41. If you have 5 million, so maybe he's the one that we should invest instead of getting that Raya or Donomero. So maybe, yeah, because Pope is the one that people are looking at if, let's say, you're calculating this week. And then the 2 cheap midfielder in the form of Chelsea, not Palmer, not Neto, not whoever, but it's Casedo who producing DEFCON points, and plus Enzo at 41 points. You could go cheap plus Anthony, 545, right? If I'm right, Burnley player. I know people won't go there, but this can just show you can go cheap, get that people who have DEFCON at the same time, potentially getting some returns, and then you could go easy in terms of getting investment in your backline instead of your midfield. So Haaland is the one that people should get. So maybe as a summary and overview, in terms of formation, are we should aware that maybe it will be a change in formation moving forward?
Yeah. I mean, in terms of defense, you can't deny that players like Senesi are benefiting hugely from the defensive contribution. And when you already have teams strong in defense, for like Arsenal and to an extent Newcastle, we can't really ignore the impact that this is having in some of the scores. So the question now for teams like Newcastle, of course, because they're in the Champions, they're going to play in Europe as well. So that's a big question. Can they sustain? Can that defense sustain? Then you have the anomaly that is Caicedo, who has actually he scored. I'm not sure how many goals has Joao Pedro scored.
If I'm right, 3. If I'm right, I'll check.
But you know what? Caicedo has scored 3. So should we be picking Caicedo over Joao Pedro? No. He scored 2 goals. Pedro has scored 2 goals, right. And Caicedo has scored 3 goals.
Yeah. Caicedo 2 goals. Yeah.
And I know that I've I think other content creators have been questioned. Caicedo and I think everyone's saying that his return is not sustainable. Please don't do it. Blah blah blah. But it's already 3 goals in, and it's already 7 matches in. So maybe if he has really added that goal scoring to his game, and given the issue with Joao Pedro, who's after those early 2 goals now is coming back to those Brighton days where we just have if he scores a goal, woohoo, but we're not too fast. And the problem with Joao Pedro now, because last season he was priced cheaper, much cheaper, less than 6. So now he's more expensive. So it's going to hurt us even more when he doesn't score. So we also have Caicedo, who okay, fine, the goal scoring is aside, but he's also picking up DEFCONs as well. So it's definitely, and his price is only 5.8, much cheaper. So you have to wonder, is he going to be worth it? So I'm just taking a look at Caicedo's DEFCON points. So the last 2 games, he missed out by 1 point. He scored 11 in game week 6 and 11 in game week 7.
Oh.
Yeah. So very unlucky. But before that, he's 15, 17, 23, 7 and 12. So out of the 7 games, in 4 games, he's returned DEFCON, and 2 games, he's just missed out. And which is not so great when it considers a midfielder, because they don't have clean sheets to their name, maybe get extra only 1 point. But the fact that his goal scoring, I really think that if Chelsea's style of play continues, Caicedo may be someone that we could seriously think about, especially if we need more money elsewhere. Anthony, I get it. Anthony, his price is about the same as Caicedo. So if you were ask me to choose between, I definitely go for Caicedo and over Burnley because situation is as it were. I found it amusing, interesting that I did a run of content creator videos and Pras didn't have Semenyo, for example.
Oh yeah.
And
I think this week he will wildcard and get in Semenyo.
yeah, I think Gian Batra didn't have Semenyo either. So
Okay.
it's quite interesting because how they shape up. But content creators aside, for me, I've realized when I wildcarded, I felt that I can't not have Semenyo, if only to stabilize my and not drop any further whenever he scores. And I'm glad because if I didn't have Semenyo last week, that Vinaro will most likely be a red. So yeah, not so much to help gain rank, but to help sustain the rank while looking at other players to push the rank. Yeah. So yeah.
So we can say Haaland and Semenyo is a must have, right?
Yeah, Haaland, Semenyo is a must have. People arguing that Senesi is a lock as well. So I don't know if that's really the case, but to be fair, at that price, there's still plenty of options. So I wouldn't say they are a lock either. So, but Semenyo, Haaland, it tells you a lot when there's 5 in defense in the best team so far, which arguably tells you that there's quite a shortage of quality midfielders and forwards to get FPL points, which means that whoever's there, it becomes a must, and hence Semenyo and Haaland are a lock while you can play with and everything else. So yes, I agree.
Yeah. I just want to touch a bit, bring you guys attention on the right side. I think that is the top 14, 15 players in terms of total points. Those are the players with 40 points minimum. If you do not make it 40 points, I will not snapshot you there. You can see that João Pedro is not in there. It's because his point is 39. So Rice is the minimum one at 40. And you can see that in terms of, since we are talking about Arsenal players moving forward, we have like Timber and Gabriel. Imagine you have those two players in your team from the beginning, right? Double defense for Arsenal. So you will get that 48 plus 47 points, total like 95, something like that. And then the next in line for that Arsenal is Calafiori, which is still a defender, 42. And then the next one is Declan Rice at 40 points. So if let's say you have like, who else in midfield for Arsenal? Madueke or Eze, maybe because he just entered, Trossard, even Gyökeres will make it in this list, right? So that's a case lah. If you're thinking like 2 defense, Timber and Gabriel, maybe a Declan Rice, although he might not be a popular pick at 6.5 million. Right? What do you think, mate? Arsenal prospect?
The problem with Arsenal, you got Declan Rice, he's scoring goals. Zubimendi, all these defensive builder, he's scoring goals. That's why it's so hard to find your 3 Arsenal picks, and it's great lah, from the Arsenal point of view that everyone's scoring goals, but for us it's a pain trying to decide. But there is a argument, should you picking Declan Rice or Eze over Saka in terms of the opportunity, because even Declan Rice takes corners and free kicks. Well, he does take dead balls this situation, and then you have Eze who also take. I mean, it hurts in terms of everyone. You can't figure out who's going to take all the dead balls. Even the penalties is still contentious. Some people say it was just a one-off, Saka Gyökeres, so there's no real certainty for that one either. So we have to, but the main conclusion is that Arsenal are the hot picks at the moment, and you got to hope that whenever they score goals, your players are involved. It's hard lah, because Arsenal players aren't that cheap either.
Yeah, Azri they mentioned he has Martinelli in his team. So is it okay or not? But there will be a minefield in terms of getting midfielder right for us.
It is a bit. I mean, I held off on bringing Eze because I still wanted to see, but Odegaard getting injured could really help. My understanding, he'll be out for 7 weeks. So
Okay,
which is
gonna be a long one.
yeah. Martinelli, coming back to Martinelli, he's only scored 1 goal so far with no assist, and that was against Manchester City. He came in as a sub.
Oh yeah, yeah.
So I'm not that sold on Martinelli at this point.
Because on that left side, yeah, plenty people can come in like Trossard, AZ could play on the left side. Minutes
Correct.
are definitely uncertain.
Yeah.
So maybe one last touch in terms of this team of season. We have that two Newcastle representative there, Pope in goal and Dan Burn. And Newcastle has been good in terms of defense. Maybe later we'll talk about stats. But well, preliminary we can see there Newcastle could be someone that we should consider if talking about wildcarding definitely.
Yeah. I guess I'm just worried about the squad when it comes to involvement in Europe. So that's something I
Okay, yeah.
need to assess. But otherwise, someone like Burn could be a decent pick there. Yeah.
Yeah, and Crystal Palace sole rep is Mark Gill. He's the captain. He
Chris-
got 1 goal, 2 assists, something like that.
With Crystal Palace, the problem is their squad is even more thinner than Newcastle, and with this is being the first involvement in Europe, it'll be a challenge to see whether or not how they can cope, how they cope. So yeah, again, we need to decide on that.
Right. Hi, FPL Hippie is here. Thanks for joining this stream. And last but not least, if you're thinking about cheap keeper, Royce from Sunderland, he's in this list in the top keeper so far. So he's the one that not so much in and everyone radar. He's played for Sunderland. Maybe we have concern getting that promoted side, but I think he could be a decent one at 4.5, 4.6 million.
Yeah. I'm a fan actually. Yeah, obviously we both wildcarded, so and it's unlikely we're going to switch to our keepers. But if you haven't wildcarded, if you wildcard in Gameweek 8, rather than Dubravka, who yes, he's cheap, but his chances of keeping clean sheets are next to zero. They did keep a clean sheet against Sunderland themselves instead, but other than that, it's just not looking great. So with Leeds, with the Sunderland keeper, I think he has better chances of keeping clean sheets. I think the defense in front of him is also better than Burnley's. It's not as cheap as Dubravka, but hey, I think it's a serious consideration.
Pick one, let's take a look some stats after game week 7 so far. At least in the team portion, the best attack from this table, we can see on the left side expected goals. The top is actually Manchester United with 14.06, talking about chances and also creation that been producing by Manchester United, regardless what the outcome from that one. They already scored 9 so far, all right? And then Crystal Palace in second, 12.94, and then Arsenal, 12.21. They scored 14 points, so over the XG, I suppose, right? And Man City also altogether 15 goals they scored at XG of 12.21. That will be the top 4, and then Brighton at 11.36, then Chelsea. So at least at the bottom there, we can see, no surprise, Burnley, Wolf, and Villa are the lowest in terms of XG for after that game. In terms of best defense, I think no doubt about that. Arsenal is the best in that division. They only conceded 3 goals so far. The lowest among teams at 4.39, and you can see them in Newcastle at second, conceded 4.89. They really keep tight in terms of defense. They already only concede 5 goals. And then I think who else have 5 goals conceded so far? Spurs and Crystal Palace, but we can see there they should have conceded way more than 5. based on these stats. So Bournemouth at third, 6.34, but they already considered 8, which is they need to improve in terms of that. What do you think, Ming? The best attack and defense in terms of team?
Like Manchester United, what can we say? The argument they
So
just
maybe from this stat, the argument that okay, maybe it's fine for you to pick like Bomo and myself, Bruno.
Yeah, so the argument is that we have to hold on to our Manchester. You know, a lot better have Bruno. For people like me who went with devilish make with Mbuemo, it definitely looks like you could keep them and hope that they will finally return. Given next game is against Liverpool, who are conceding goals as well, for example. So yeah, but it's just that because at the same time you have Brentford and Everton who are performing, who have scored exactly the same number of goals as United, but the XG is pretty much on the dot, more par for the as they are doing, as they are performing as expected, and you got to think that Manchester United's striking will improve with that shift to now they've now that Cunha looks like he might not start now with Mount coming back and doing better, and they got the win. Of course, it was against Sunderland, so we'll still have to see. But yeah, you're right. There's no point selling off your assets, United assets now when looking at that stat. So it's really a question of players adapting to their Amoris formation. It looks like they are. It's just they're not finishing off the chances. And you would argue that it's going to happen. It has to happen sooner or later. So you think that you'll probably hold on. Other than that, you got City with 15 goals, 12. Okay, but of course, the difference between City and United is they have a very clinical striker up front who's way performing. So that's it. I just want to point out Liverpool, whose XG is 11, which is not bad, and they've actually scored 13, so which is good. But of course, it's more on the defense that is a bigger issue. But at the same time, the goals are not being scored by popular FPL picks. That's the problem. You've got Gravenberch scoring, for example. Yeah, so this is the dilemma with Liverpool. Can I just to touch on the defense side? Yeah, so Arsenal and Newcastle, I knew Arsenal were way above. I didn't know Newcastle were way above as well because they score, they do concede goals, but only 5 goals, which is the same as Spurs. I just want to point that out. Spurs have a much higher XG, but they're also conceding 5. And further down the table, Crystal Palace are 5 with a higher XG, marginally higher than Spurs. So we definitely Burn will. You would think that those with Burn or Pope should maintain it. It's just the issue of what I mentioned earlier about Newcastle and Crystal Palace, whether they are capable of sustaining it with Europe coming into play. So that's something we have to decide. I just want to point out right at the bottom there is Burnley, as we were talking about, and Forest. How much longer is Angie going to be there? That's an interesting question. And the thing is, we're hoping he'll stay longer because the longer he is, the more better chances of us racking up FPL points against them. But West Ham with under Nuno, you'd think that will start to change. They are the highest conceding team at the moment with 16 goals, but I'm confident that that's going to turn around in the next few weeks.
I agree. I think I touched on that Forest news that you mentioned, particularly. I also kind of amusing when I read potential report that Shonda, it could be
in place
in Postecoglou if let's say he's been dismissed. So really, okay, fine. So I think we shall see. I hope they give more time for Postecoglou to turn around, because you are not appointing someone just to play like a few games, right? You need to give him chance to prove.
Exactly. Because the circumstances of you appointing him was ridiculous, to say the least. So you can't just expect him to turn around immediately. He's got plenty of lot of work to do, I guess. So I totally agree with you. He should be given more time. The problem with that is the perspective of people based on his tenure at Spurs, whether he can do it, and of course with everyone still, most Forest fans still in love with Nuno, so and it's translating into antagonism towards NG, so it's creating very uncomfortable circumstances for the manager.
Shall see on that news, that space moving forward. I'd like to share the FPL Hippie did mention about Royals rotates well with Pope, as both Newcastle and Sunderland can't play at home same weekend. So I didn't realize that, but that could be the one if you have due to policing and traffic. So I guess Royals can rotate, but I think the more question whether you want to invest Pope and Royals in your team, which is going to take some money there.
Yeah.
All right, let's go next one in terms of XGI, expected goal involvement. I don't think they'll be surprised there because the top is Erling Haaland with 8.44 in terms of FPL points, 70 points. He already got like how many goals? 9 goals, something like that. Returned so far. Goal attempts 29, the biggest among this player. Against that second place, Bruno Fernandes at 5.01. I never thought of that. So if let's say you mentioned about Bruno Fernandes second in terms of XGI, probably that could convince me to keep him, but I'm still itchy whether Bruno Fernandes is still the one to keep moving forward. But we'll see this weekend. There will be a tough match against Liverpool. And third place is Mateta. If you're thinking about getting any striker alongside Haaland, Mateta could be the one. But the thing is, Glasner did mention that Mateta has been feeling an tiredness getting those European competition as well. So his minute might be managed with Nketiah already ready to come in. And then fourth is actually 4.26, Enzo Fernandez, the player that you have named. I don't think you should move him on because I think Palmer is set to miss out more weeks of the injury. So Enzo could be the focal point for Chelsea. He could be potentially on penalty, even though like Saka situation, Pedro passed that ball for Enzo to score this one, but you just never know. Maybe he'll take the second one. So Enzo Fernandez at 6.7, he could be value if you're thinking any Chelsea asset. Because there's some interesting fixture coming up later, which says we shall see in terms of fixture ticker later. Semenyo, no surprise, everyone going to get him at 3.96 expected goal involvement. The next one, Gyökeres, Arsenal rep for the first one that appear in this table, 3.47, even though people are frustrating in terms of Gyökeres output. He only scored 26 FPL points. So low, even lower than Bruno Fernandes. So then your player Mbomo is there. Okay, so maybe there's chance that he could be the one that should keep for Manchester United if you can't afford Bruno Fernandes 3.43. And further down, Deye on penalty. Ismail Sarr also interesting pick if you're thinking about Crystal Palace. As you can see, previous table, Crystal Palace is up there in terms of attack. I think second in the table. So, main, any takeaways that we can see from this?
Well, I'll just talk about Mbeumo and Fernandes because that's the difference between the two, one of the Manchester United differences. Looking at this table, I'm now very happy that I have Mbeumo because he costs 0.9 less than Fernandes. But if you look at the FPL points, the difference is 1 point. There's only 1 point difference between the two. Goal attempts is about the same, 16 for Bruno and 17 for Mbeumo. On targets, Mbeumo has 7, Fernandes has 6. So chances created, definitely Fernandes wins out. But the touches in the penalty area, I didn't realize that Mbeumo has so many touches in the penalty area, whereas Bruno only has 12, which is tiny, sikit considering his price. So yeah, I do feel that I hope, for me, I believe that long term Mbeumo will be the better pick. He is taking free kicks as well, and now especially now with corners, maybe not direct free kicks but indirect maybe, but now with Cunha looking like he's not going to be first choice, so I feel that Mbeumo is not a bad pick, out, as opposed to Fernandez, as an alternate to Fernandez.
Yeah.
So moving on, Mateta, it's not looking great. Touches penalty 18, and FPL points is only 20. I don't really like that. Although goal attempts is about the same. It makes me think that for cheaper price you can get Ismail Sarr, who has 36 points, which is 16 points more, and his touches in penalty is not as much as Mateta, but still decent and quite right. So arguably he's more clinical at this point, because unlike Mateta, who has 17 goal attempts, Sarr has only had 7. So it would say that he's much more clinical than Mateta at this point after 7 weeks. Yeah.
But remember, Sarr missed 2 games, right? So he actually only play 5 games because due to his injury. I think he missed out 2 games.
Yeah, which means that it's even more thrilling that when he does play, his FPL points are more than Mateta's. So it's definitely worth looking at. And with Sarr, I think Sarr is really popular at this point, and he's also much cheaper as well. So yeah.
So this is the output for XGI. If you're thinking Haaland, I think you need to get him in terms of SGI. He's the one. Even Salah is down there at 2.95. But Liverpool is need some time to gel in terms of team. But there will be an interesting week coming on, definitely after the international break. Talk about DC points a bit. This is the table that we have in terms of DEFCON stats. 7 games so far. So we can see there only 3 players that have been hitting 6 games in terms of DC points. That's why they got 12 points. If you hit 7, you will have 14. But nobody hit 7 games with DC points. Only 3 players. Senesi, Anderson, like Azmin mentioned, he got getting that 3 points. I'll take 3 points over that 2 points, definitely. And Tarkowski, which is still high in terms of 5.5, right? Senesi already risen up to 5.0. I didn't realize that.
From 4.5. It's just
yeah.
So if you had him at the start, it's a bargain. Now you got to think again, and Anderson is still steady, holding steady.
So I guess Anderson, you just grab him because he's still at 4.5, right? And Fulham fixture will definitely maybe some mixed bag there, but he's still excellent even though you leaving him on the bench. And who knows, you're still in the position of bench boosting. And then Anderson is just nice to have that option. Then next one will be Cullen in midfield, right? 5.0 Burnley, if I'm right. Okay. So he already hit that 5. And then Lacroix from Crystal Palace is up there. Where is Mark Gear? It's not in here.
No, he's not here at all because he's not the person. He's more of the positioning rather than actually.
Why he is up there is because he's been returning attacking 2 seasons ago. I think that's why.
Correct, but at the same time, because his partner isn't on the list, so it tells you who's more involved in terms of directly intercepting balls and who's more in terms of just ensuring that they're in the right position to force the ball to be played wrongly. So that's the impact it has for our between those who have DEFCON and those who don't, especially between the center backs. Which ones, which is quite drastic when you look at it. Some of it, for example, like VVD and Konate. VVD was racking it up, but not Konate. That kind of thing to decide between the two. So like Tarkowski, but his partner isn't even on the list, for example. So That's right. Oh no, he is there keen, but much lower. Yeah, so you just have to look at the partners
I
and
think that
decide.
will be just a matter of time before the Brentford coming back. Then Keane will not play anymore.
Yeah. With Bradford, it's definitely more quality lah. I think we can all agree he's better. Yeah, he's much and Keane, but the Keane does score goals, so that's at least where FPL wise lah, it's something to consider.
Yeah. So inside here, there are plenty of Sunderland players. I mean, you can see that. Zaka in midfield 5.0, but you have Aldred and Mukele. I think this is the one that people are eyeing instead of their Ballad, right?
Yeah, that's why. And plus they're cheaper as well. Ballad's like 4.5. So these are 4.1, 4.0. So I may need to downgrade if when I have the space transfer available to do it. Yeah, because I do like Sunderland's defense.
Yeah, I think. Moise Caicedo, you mentioned that. If you do not afford Lacroix, you can go Chris Richard, which I'm having right now, 4.5 million. So there are plenty of budget enabler here that you can have and potentially TC points. So I don't think we need to invest so much. Even the highest here will be Vindeck at 6.1.
Yeah.
The rest, I can't see a lot of 6 million player here.
There's so much crap we're talking about Liverpool's defense, and here we have Vindeck at 6.1. It's insane. But at the same time, what's another glaring thing about this table is that there's no, if you notice, there's no Arsenal player here. Is there? Yeah, not a single one. So which means they are all sharing out in terms of their defensive contributions, to the point that none of them are in this list at this point.
So slightly, if you are getting Arsenal fan, you are expecting the clean sheet rather than getting these DC points.
Exactly. Yeah. So Gabriel got 2 the last game, but Timber missed out because he had 2 more to get to those 2 points and he missed out. So yeah, something to see.
Yeah. So in terms of defense, if we may suggest who are thinking about wildcarding this week, is Senesi still okay at 5.0? I still feel, even though you are paying higher right now, but he looks the one that you should get. Then Anderson looks like he at 4.5 million. I'm not sure I'm gonna go Tarkowski at 4.5 if I can mention here. I don't think I'm gonna invest that. You can go cheap like Lacroix or Chris Richard, because at least in terms of defense they are still great. No Newcastle player here, right? But Denburn could be the one that people are looking at, and maybe one of those players, and then go cheap with Sunderland 4.0.
The insane thing about coming back to the Bournemouth, with Senesi up there. If you remember, Bournemouth's defense got wasted during the transfer window, and yet there we have, Senesi right up there. And at the same time, to me, that's a good point. Is more about cohesion between, so they all sharing the responsibility. But coming back to Bournemouth, if you remember the 2 slides ago, we were talking about the XGC. Bournemouth at 3rd tells you loads about Iraola as a manager. He's done remarkably well. Yeah, so Senesi has entered to that definition of set and forget. You want him, you don't mind spending more for him because you're not gonna rotate him out. So you might pick him up as a set and forget. Much like some of our keepers. So if you're looking at it that way, then yeah, just pick him up and field him every week. Because when he's not keeping clean sheets, he's getting those DEFCON and maybe even some attacking return. So yeah. So definitely, if you want wildcard now, Senesi, if you don't mind spending a bit more, go for it.
Yeah. Interesting stats that we have after Gameweek 7. Maybe we'll take a look at some fixture moving forward. Okay, this is the next 6 at least. But maybe before that, we'll go to that Legomané fixture outlook. so that we can see overall, right? We already passed that game week 7. So now we come into game week 8, 9, 10, and 11. That will be the D-set before another international break, which will be the last international break for this year, coming somewhere in November. Okay, so you can see there 8, then sandwich with European competition, whoever involved. All right, then 9, then there will be Carabao Cup round 4. Okay, somewhere that 28 October, and then game week 10. Pretty much will be packed, especially for teams who are playing Europe and still in that Carabao Cup final. Although we suspect that the big team will rotate their team in this game, right? But you can see there the likes of Villa and Forest who are in Europe, they are out already from the Carabao Cup, so they can like have good midweek between 9 and 10 there for Aston Villa and Forest. Palace, they are going to play Liverpool, so I'm not sure which team they will turn up, but there will be a fantastic game for sure. Then the rest after that, the European competition will come into play, and this after that in this international break, the game week 8 also interesting to know who will be fit, who are going to play for that one. It'll be interesting to see that. After that, another international break, there'll be plenty of matches there. You can see there, and you can see between game week 13 to 15, there'll be back-to-back midweek game. So probably there'll be some rotation can happen there before we receive that free 5 transfer. Before that AFCON competition will come in game week 16, I believe. That's where that we highlighted by Legomané there. So in game week 16, interesting. And then African Cup Nation will kick off in game week 17. Before, I think we need to use up all our chips prior to the game week 19, right? Game week 19 will be the last chance, right? So I believe that will be the one. What do you think, me?
Yeah, it's tough. And the thing with the Carabao Cup is that there's quite a few that is the teams playing each other from the Premier League. The Liverpool Crystal Palace one is such a shocking one, given that Crystal Palace bamboozled Liverpool the last time out. So it could be a very I would say exhausting match, because Liverpool will want to avenge themselves with that defeat. Then you have Wolves against Chelsea. Wolves still trying to find semblance of form and have to go all out. I'm sure they'll want to try their very best, even and not. Obviously they're 90 in the league, but at the same time, I think they're not gonna just give up to focus on the league. And the other team in the cup player is Newcastle versus Spurs, which is could be a very explosive match. And Arsenal versus Brighton is the other one, lah. But Brighton are unpredictable, and Arsenal have a big enough squad that they can afford to rotate. So those picking up Arsenal don't have to worry about rotation much, at least with where the Carabao Cup is concerned, more just with the Champions League. Yeah. So I mean, looking at it, it's because Champions League occurs right after the internationals. You have the game week 8, and then followed by the internationals. So it's very important to see who's playing on what day, because now with the Champions League schedule, for example, you have teams that can be playing on Thursday. So that needs to be taken into account, and of course the quality of the opposition, as always. The problem is teams like Villa, who are scrambling, Villa and Forest, who are both still struggling in the league. So this game week where they play in the Europe will go a long way to seeing where their priorities are. So those are the matches you need to take a look at, and helping you make your decisions later on.
Let's say we look back at the fixture ticker, you can see there why Spurs are the asset that people are looking at, because they are top right now. They're playing Fulham, Crystal Palace, Burnley and Sunderland, 2 back-to-back promoted sides in 10 and 11, and then Spurs and then Chelsea. Maybe that will be a tough one at the end, but they're still fine in terms of Arsenal. Then Brighton, I think now makes sense why people talking about Minte, because Brighton is Second in ticker right now, Newcastle, despite United, they play Leeds, Crystal Palace, Brentford, and Forest. Then Wolf, nice entry point. We're thinking about Strand Larsen. I'm not sure about how his fitness right now, but Sunderland, Burnley back to back. You're thinking if you can take opportunity, any Wolf asset there. I think Azmin will know better which asset in terms of Wolves are great in terms of getting. Then Fulham, Chelsea, Crystal Palace, and Villa. Then Chelsea, yes, why people mention about Chelsea because they have some decent fixture. Forest, I think I would like to play Forest right now. Sunderland, then Spurs, Wolf and Burnley before they play Arsenal in game week 13. So they are pretty nice fixture there. Sunderland, Wolf and Burnley. So like Azmin have Enzo Fernandez, I would definitely say just keep him for this run, man.
Oh yeah, definitely. Yeah, he's the man now.
Yep. So then Everton, City, not so much. But then Spurs, Sunderland, Fulham, United, and Newcastle. But it's a bit mixed bag, I feel that. Then West Ham, like you mentioned, man. Why West Ham is good? Because it's kind of like February fixture coming up. Brentford, Leeds, Newcastle, Burnley there, Bournemouth, and then Liverpool.
And
Down the
they
ticker.
yeah, and the fact they don't have any other competition to worry about at the moment. So
Yeah, we discussed that offline. At the bottom, United facing Liverpool, Spurs, Everton, Brighton in the next six, maybe not so much, but if let's say you have one asset, maybe that would be great. City, despite down there, I can see, but they are still excellent, like Haaland. They play Liverpool in game week 11, but the rest still, to me, still okay. And then
Yep.
Villa, maybe people ditching because they play Spurs, City, and Liverpool in the next three. And Watkins potentially out injured during this international break, so I don't think people will go there. Mate, Arsenal all in.
Yeah, but can you go back to the Legomané chart? I just want to see where the next Champions League is. Game week 12, 13. Okay, between game week 12 and 13. Okay, come back to the go back to the fixtures. So you got I don't deny, I know you mentioned it just now, and I don't deny that I'm still tracking Wolves and seeing what they're whether there's merit. So you got they play Sunderland, Burnley, which are arguably good matches. Fulham, who will always who they have faltered recently. So then you have Chelsea, whose defense is not there's injuries there as well, and then you have Palace and Villa. So Palace and Villa arguably are tough matches, but between game week 12 and game week 13, there's also a Europe match as well. So Wolf could potentially do one over there, but let's not pretend. I'm just looking at this. There's no way I'm going to put in any Wolves players at this point in time until they actually show something to prove. So this game against Sunderland will be huge marker to see, because if they manage to triumph over Sunderland really well, then definitely they'll go into consideration with the next match being against Burnley. So, but until that, so we definitely not this week. We will wait and see what happens against the Sunderland match. The fact that those three of these teams down there playing Villa, City, and United, all because Liverpool are there. But Liverpool are not exactly showing great form at the moment. So I do feel that the table is still a bit skewed based on wrong picks based on previous years and based on what we think of the teams. And I don't think they should be long down there, because Liverpool should be a reason to not, because while they still score goals, but they are conceding goals as well. Yeah. So other than that, Everton, I guess. Of course, the City match is not great, but after that, it's just solid matches where who you have with this Ndiaye or Grealish. And I don't know if KDH. I do want to see whether KDH returns to the starting lineup given the triumph over Palace the other day. So that's something that I'm worried about, because if KDH suddenly doesn't return to the starting lineup, then you'll need to.
I think he will play because Grealish will be ineligible, so he definitely play.
Oh, that's right, against City. Yeah, so you get a chance. So it's still in other words, there's still doubt as to what happens the following week, but at least KDH confirm will play for that.
Can I just want to address Azli question? Can I use cheap wildcard or free hit game week 8? Definitely you can do wildcard in game week 8 for sure if you're thinking to refresh your team, because this is an excellent fixture coming in. Like the Arsenal, as I mentioned about West Ham. If you're thinking about a short-term move player, which is still fine, I suppose.
Yeah, I guess I know some of us are looking at the internationals to get indicators, because players like Bowen, Isaac, are not this team. So it's not looking great lah, because those two players that I mentioned, Isaac, Sweden are getting close to getting knocked out, and he failed to score against Switzerland. At the same time, you got Bowen, who didn't get any minutes in the England's first match. Did get a 20 minutes run out against Wales, but failed to impress. It was totally almost non-existent, barely had any touches in the box. So the question is, do you think that this is the case with when he plays for West Ham? I don't think so. Because against with England, he's playing with a lot of other players, quality players from other teams. But in West Ham, they're playing with people he knows well, who knows him well, and work with him weekly. So it shouldn't be an indicator, at least for where Jared Bowen is concerned. For Isaac, I thought that's the problem with Isaac is, of course, the high price. And if you look at the fixture here, it's not great either. It's okay, Manchester United, Brentford, but given Liverpool's form at the moment, if you don't have them now, might not be the time to buy. I already have Isaac, so I'm questioning whether I should
keep him for now. Free hit in game week 8. I'm not sure what situation that I'm going to free hit in game week 8 until you want to do it. I prefer, if let's say you have issue to address, you wildcard first and address.
I think coming back to Aziz's question, I think I don't know whether your team will revert to the team that you like in game week 9, but I do think that wildcarding in game week 8, if you haven't used your wildcard ID, is definitely an option that people should seriously consider, because I think a lot now that we have enough information and we pretty much, it can help set us up for quite a long time. So yeah, I'm all for wildcarding, not free hitting. So if you ask me, my answer is wildcard, not.
Since we talk about wildcard team, I just want to share here, because there are plenty of managers who are activating this wildcard. At least the content creator like Price and also Raza are doing it this week. And I snapshot this game week draft wildcard in game week 8 versus game week 6. Would there a lot of changes that will happen? Probably might. This is where we can debate, man. Because in here on the right side is game week 8 draft, and game week 6 wildcard is on the left. Potentially, this is what we're gonna have, right? The likes of Gabriel, Bruno Fernandes, we have Mbomo, Semenyo, Reinder, and we have go big up front with João Pedro and Gyökeres, right? So, but if let's say on wildcard 8, there could be potentially you don't go Gyökeres and João Pedro, and you go the likes of Bowen like that. And then fill in midfield with Saka, Gordon like Newcastle player, Semenyo, Sa, and Enzo as representative from Chelsea. Go big in the back with combo Gabriel and Timber and Pope there, kind of like that. And Senesi, which you can rotate with Richards or Aldred if you want, and then go with. But this, if let's say you're not bench boosting, Mark Gear as the so-called non-playing player up front. Go big in midfield and defense in game week 8. Would you like that, man?
I mean, the thing is, if you haven't bench boosted, Mark Gui doesn't seem to be a great option.
Another way that people are thinking, like you fill in with DCL at that point, at that spot 5.5, but you need to reduce somewhere.
Yeah, maybe I feel this campaign of DCL, I don't know, it's just prime for disappointment for me. I do like the draft Gameweek 8. It's just that Mark Gui option is not great for me. The midfield looks strong, although I'm not sure about Gordon. Sure, Gordon's taking penalties, but is he great player to have? Given the Champions League commitments, I'm not convinced. Really, I do feel that you can go cheaper, or even replace him with someone like, I can't remember, is Eze around that same price bracket as well? Yeah, but then
you could go cheap like Minte,
yeah,
Brighton.
because you can't go Eze if you already tripled up on Arsenal already. So yeah, go for someone like Minte. Yeah. So yeah. Other than that, yeah. Other then the rest of the funds you can go to upgrade Gui, and then you're all set and ready to bench boost when you need to.
Yep. But I do feel if I'm in that position, I still like this Gameweek 6 draft because I want to take advantage. I don't know about Gyökeres' position, right?
Yeah.
I do feel that we need to give him time. I don't know. That's what I feel.
Yeah, I agree. I think Gyökeres is someone you need to give time, and I also don't like Pedro. So I'm happy that I'm looking at a Gameweek 8 without Pedro. I feel it just feels better, better overall.
Or you could go like Gyökeres and Bowen. I think that would be fine. And then Enzo in midfield.
Yes, correct. Yes. So if you have the funds to spare, yeah. So without Pedro, then for Gyökeres, I think Gyökeres is still better over Pedro simply because Arsenal's attack is much more stronger than Chelsea's. So yeah.
So I kind of like that Gabriel and Timber combo. I don't know why, but I feel if let's say they really nail, I think their prices gonna up by 6 million now for Timber if I'm right. Let me just have a quick look. Timber, how much price he is now? 5.9. I think it's just matter of time. That if let's say people are looking at Timber, Gabriel and Saka or Eze.
Look,
Sounds like
I like the Timber. Of course, the Timber and Gabriel thing looks really attractive. It's just the amount of money that has to go into that. I'm very tak best lah. You know, rasa tak ni banyak duit tu to spend on those two defenders against Arsenal. So it'll be very annoying when they concede.
Okay, fair. I can sense that feeling. Right. Yeah. I think it's the same feeling if you're going Raya and Gabriel, right?
True.
Like
True. Yeah.
But should we worry about Timber minutes with Ben White on the wings? What do you think?
No. I mean, I think there have been other people, of our fellow creators discussing it, but in my humble opinion, Timber spot is his place to lose. So as long as he does well, he's got it. Ben White isn't. It's going to take a lot for Ben White to get back in. Timber has shown he can do it, and he's much better at the moment. So no worries at all.
Okay, one player that I just want to touch. No Reinder there in GW8. Would you still have Reinder if you're Bakali?
Yeah, well, that's another option for instead of Gordon. Put Reinder. I don't mind. I think it's okay because City is stronger, I feel, than Newcastle, and yeah, even sure Gordon takes penalties, but I don't think that's strong enough for Newcastle, and I'm worried about Newcastle's commitments for the CL.
All right, maybe one or two players only that separate between 6 and 8, but most of the players, I think Enzo and Sa, if you are wildcarding 6 like us, you don't have those players. You have Enzo, okay, but most of managers won't have that. And no Kudus there, you can see that.
Oh, that's right. No Kudus. That's interesting. Yeah, so instead of Gordon, Kudus. Everything geared towards selling Gordon.
But people mention about Spurs are turning in terms of their fixture. What do you think? Do you agree? Villa, Everton, Chelsea, United, Arsenal. It's going to be tough somewhere there.
It's mid-range. You know what's tough there? Arsenal.
Okay.
That's it, right? Arsenal. Don't say United. Okay. Villa, Everton, Chelsea. I think they're all susceptible. So yeah. But of course, the problem is, of course, Champions League. This is Thomas Frank's first FPL, so yeah, have to think about that one.
For now, Kudus still play that 90 minutes thing, so I think he's still safe for Spurs. But until proven we can see that Kudus being minutes managed, there will be, he's been playing like 84, 85, 90, 90, 90, 90, 89. He's really nailed.
I think Frank's also, of course, it's good that Kudus is stepping up to repay that faith, because it is one of Thomas Frank's first transfers for the club. So it makes sense that he wants them to play his way, and Kudus fits his style, and it is looking true at the moment. So if you have Kudus, keep him and continue to play him. And I say this with hand in my hand, because I got it wrong, because saying that Kudus would be bad at the start of the season.
Right. Good stuff. Let's take a look at Gameweek Fixture 8. Who's playing who this week? I think the biggest one would definitely Liverpool and Manchester United, where it will be a super Sunday. There will be a big one. The opening for Gameweek 8 will be Forest against Chelsea. So Chelsea will be playing away at the Saturday early kickoff, lunchtime. And then at 10 p.m. Malaysian time, we have plenty of matches. Brighton versus Newcastle. We have Burnley and Leeds. That'll be an interesting one. Okay, because I'm also thinking, later we shall take a look at our team. Are we going to play our goalkeeper Burnley against Leeds? We have Palace versus Bournemouth, another exciting match. I can see that, because Palace and Bournemouth are high flying right now. Can Bournemouth continue their form? And then we have City versus Everton. Everton can be liat away to City, so they need to be careful. And then another interesting match, Sunderland Wolf. They are both desperate, especially Wolf, in getting those points.
Oh, yes.
Then we have London Derby, Fulham versus Arsenal. Tricky match away. I can see that. We there have Spurs Villa on Sunday. And then on Monday night, Mr. Nuno Espirito will play, finally, first time at home as West Ham manager against Brentford. I know, which match that you're looking forward to.
I just want to point out that, for those who had wildcarded in game week 6 or earlier, the idea, one of the strategies in mind that was in this game week 8, that they were going to bench boost, because you have your three players like Burnley, Dubravka playing against Leeds, and then if you have Sunderland defenders, they're playing against Wolves.
Yes.
Yeah, so or even Leeds playing against Burnley.
Yes, you're right.
So this is that time. So it does look good, but then, coming off the international break, that's the challenge you're just going to have to face if you want to go for it, and suddenly some big players failing to turn up. But in terms of matches, Liverpool versus Manchester United, there's such a huge match to see whether Liverpool, if Liverpool fail this one at home against Anfield, then you really, then they're in trouble. I don't know, and you don't want to consider picking up Liverpool players. But of course, there's also a history that Salah has record against United. So this might, so you could argue this might be the recovery back after losing the last 3 matches in all competitions.
I'm looking forward to that match for sure.
Yeah. Another interesting match I like is Crystal Palace Bournemouth. I don't know so much for FPL, but because both teams are doing quite well. Yeah, so and because Champions League will only be after this match, so you'll expect Crystal Palace to do well anyway. Can they blunt Semenyo? That's the thing. But Crystal Palace are bouncing back from their defeat against Everton. They finally lost against Everton, right? 2-1. Yeah, so it'll be interesting to see that, which is why we're not captaining Semenyo. So so that leaves Manchester City versus Everton, and there's no reason not to. There's not enough strong candidates unless you go for your Arsenal Saka against Fulham. But City are at home, so it's hard to argue against Haaland. But we can talk about that shortly. Sorry, jump the gun there.
Yeah. I think captaincy pick, we definitely from here we can see looks like City, unless you want to go Arsenal, like you mentioned, away to Fulham. Uh, Liverpool against United, if you still have Salah, probably. Okay. But other than that, I don't think I can trust any Chelsea player, even though they play away to
No.
Forest.
Yeah, the attack is sure they won against Liverpool, but it's just not there. Can I just say, and again, obviously I've been looking at a lot of content creators. FPL Chai has wildcarded, which has Salah as captain. So he's more
Wow.
confident than myself, a Liverpool fan, in then that Salah is going to continue to return against
Do he has Haaland and Salah combo?
yes, Haaland and Salah.
Wow.
So it's very, I love this. It's very interesting to
Interesting.
see.
I like Chai because he's definitely a different kind of manager. Yeah.
Yeah, but then in terms of ranking, he is under 1 million, so he is doing
Yep.
well.
Yep.
So you can't say he's not.
Yep.
Yeah, can't say he's being
Yep.
foolish or anything because
Yep.
it says he's not. So yeah, it'll
But
be interesting.
he's definitely bold in terms of his selection. That's why I like.
Oh yeah, no argument there. It's like because it was he was one of those who came out with video during the during the international break early on. So that's
right.
that's why we tuned into it. So yeah.
Right. Captaincy, we talk about that. AI prediction from Fantasy Football Hub. I don't think they're surprised because Haaland is number one now. 7.3 predicted points. Second, Mo Salah at 7.1. Looks like close one. Okay. And then we have Mateta at 6.0. Crystal Palace playing at home against Bournemouth. It's going to be. Isaac, your player, man, 5.7 against United. And then Semenyo, I think he's facing away to Crystal Palace. And he's at form right now. He scored 18 points, right? Last week, prior to that international break, 5.6. I don't think argument there if you're going for Semenyo, but are you big enough to go there, captaining over Haaland? There'll be a big call for sure. Haaland all the way, but do you see any potential differential that we can look at?
No, Salah up there is just quite an anomaly in this, given his current record. It seems to be based on. I don't know what Hub's AI prediction is based on. But to be fair, they have created a lot of chances. They just haven't scored. But Salah's stats overall are definitely down from last season. So which implies that there's a lot more sharing in terms of opportunities and chances created. So I can't see Salah there. Mateta will take a bit of balls to captain Mateta over Haaland. And sure, Isaac looks great, but really, I have Isaac and I wouldn't captain him, because when you do that, we're basically hoping that a massive turnaround will happen in one game week, and I don't want to look at it that way. You're basically chancing your luck because based on Liverpool's form, where they've lost their last 3 matches in a row, it's not there. So it's a huge gamble to pick either Isaac or even Salah for that, even though Salah has a great record against United, but recency bias says that it's going to be hard. Hard to look past Haaland, I think. Semenyo get Palace is going to be tough. Yeah, so Azli,
I think Azli did mention. I guess Azli is an United fan or Arsenal fan. I'm not sure. No Arsenal player here. Are you surprised?
A bit, but I don't know if it's because of Saka, because that question between penalties makes Saka drop off from this list. But I think that it may also be more of the fact that moving forward, Arsenal's attack return, AI probably predicts that it's going to be more distributed, no real focal point anymore. And that's maybe why Salah doesn't appear. Saka doesn't appear here.
Correct. I guess it's Haaland. I think that's the one that Haaland, unless you want to go. I think this really early season. Haaland on form. He scored hat-trick. Yeah, I just want to mention. I know people are not paying attention to international matches. He scored a hat-trick against Israel. He's still here. Norway are high flying right now. in terms of qualifying World Cup. So that's all I can say.
Yep.
Right, let's go to our team pick, man. My
Yep,
team
yep.
first. We're coming to 1 hour and 20 minutes mark. I have 0.4 million in the bank, 3 free transfer. What I'm going to look at this week, for now, Petro in goals, away to Crystal Palace. We can talk about that later. Van der Ven at home against Villa. Gabriel away to Fulham. Richards at home against Bournemouth. That can be, I think I have option there if I want to go Senesi or Anderson. Anderson playing at home against Arsenal, I might not go there. But Senesi are playing against Richards. Always going to pick home team, right? Yeah, I have Bruno Fernandes away to Liverpool, Kudus at home against Villa, Semenyo away to Crystal Palace. Macam tak kenal pula, right? I'm having Semenyo who scored a goal against Palace, but then Richards going to concede goal. Okay, maybe I just balance out in terms of that. And Reinder at home against Everton. João Pedro up front away to Forest. Haaland as my captain, Everton, and then Gyökeres away to Fulham. On my bench, to Braga at home against Leeds. Grealish ineligible to play. Okay, so left with Senesi Anderson. I'm debating to play Petrovic or Dubravka. Dubravka at home against Leeds. Kind of like he can deliver, right, against Leeds. So who knows, Burnley need points. They could keep a clean sheet. And against Petrovic away to Crystal Palace, we know Palace are able to score at home. So I'm thinking on that lah. Dubravka could potentially come in for Petrovic. Other than that, I think I'm going to stick to my team. And would you believe it? I'm probably will roll my transfer and not going for any Arsenal player yet. My third one. And I will gather more info this week for next one, which will be crucial, where Arsenal gonna play, I forgot, at home against Crystal Palace, which gonna be tough. So what do you think, man?
I hate you if you're gonna roll again. I'm gonna be so jealous and annoyed. But I do think Dubravka is a good shout. If you remember, Burnley has kept one clean sheet, and it was against a fellow promoted side, which was Sunderland. With Sunderland, if you remember, they started a while. So coming into the match against Burnley, I thought that Sunderland are gonna waste Burnley, but no, Burnley kept a clean sheet even. So yeah, I think it's definitely something to consider over Petrovic. The thing is, I do think Crystal Palace will score. Yeah, they have the quality, and they not yet. The Euro match is only in midweek, so it's not after a Euro match. So I think and as a result, I also think that you should. But at the same time, I think you should push Senesi into the starting lineup as well. Yeah, the question is for who, and it's hard. You could argue Richards, but given the argument I just said, because Richards will still pick up.
DC.
DC, but so will Senesi. So given the two, I know I said that Crystal Palace will score, but again for Petrovic, definitely move for Dubravka. But I think that Senesi should come in for Richards. I think he's going to be better.
I think another one that potentially can debate is play Senesi and Richards over Van der Ven. But I kind of like Spurs, and they could keep clean sheet, and we already know they only allowed 5 goals so far. In terms of this, so I have soft spot for Van der Ven because he's got me 14 points somewhere.
I guess the thing with them is then you have to go back to Villa, because the thing with Spurs is they don't seem to keep DEFCONs. I don't think they were in that list at all. So I would definitely, and Villa have been experiencing a revival. So if Van der Ven doesn't keep a clean sheet, doesn't get DEFCON, he's gonna have to rely on attacking contribution. So now that we've had this line of thinking, get rid of Van der Ven, put Senesi in. There you go, settle.
Right. I'll think about that over the weekend. But I just want to point out because people also asked me whether you could do Bruno Fernandes to Saka. I do not have exact money because, as you can see, I have really my midfield bombarded with money, the likes of Kudus, Grealish, and Reinder. If I want to do that, I need to downgrade maybe Grealish or Reinder and put the money and use two free transfer, which I might not want to do that yet. I think let Bruno, he's on second after Haaland in terms of XGI. Give him another chance despite playing away to Liverpool. We shall see. Then after that, reevaluate. That's what I feel.
Okay, good luck. We'll see with or not Euro patient.
Your
Okay.
team in 0.19 million in the bank, 0.1 million, yes, and two free transfer.
I am in love with Jared Bowen, so it's just a case of how I want to get him in. We don't, and I did ask around in social media in terms of if I want Bowen, who do I sell, Pedro or Isaac? It's pretty much everyone says Isaac because of the
Wow.
form and stuff. Yeah, and also the fact that by selling Isaac and buying Bowen, I have more funds to play with. I got like almost 3 extra units to play with, which I can use elsewhere. Whereas if I sell Joao Pedro, it's exactly the same price now. I think it's like
Yep.
they're both
Yep.
4.7, so I don't get anything. But the thing is, but between the two, you saw Isaac in that captaincy suddenly turning up in the captaincy pick range. But at the same time, if you remember, earlier we were talking about Pedro, and I was very unconvinced, even though the stars were aligned for him to continue in terms of being a regular starter, no issue. I'm not confident enough with Chelsea's attack. I don't mind Enzo, but 2 is too much. So yeah, I am thinking of selling Bowen for Pedro. So in terms of the rest of it, yeah, it's a case of Everton going to score. So if they are, then I'll go for Dubravka and bench Donnarumma.
Wow. Would you do that?
Sounds like gila, but
Yeah. Right.
yeah.
Uh,
So
in my position, it's different because Petrovic, right?
yeah,
Donnarumma, it's going to be a
because
tough one. I don't think I'm going to do that. That's all I can say.
and I'm just laughing at the fact that I have, just now we were talking about, KDH confirmed is going to play this match, but I'm stuck in on the bench anyway. So so what a hypocrite am I? But in terms of the defense, yeah, the tough one is Anderson, benching Anderson, and I just may bench Van der Ven for Anderson using the same
Wow.
argument I told you.
Wow.
Diouf for me is a lock. I'm not
Yeah.
selling him.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Okay.
4 assists in the
Yep.
last 7 games, and plus that now he's getting DEFCON as well. So I love that. I love
I think I envy you that you have the off. That's all I can say.
1 clean sheet and his popularity will skyrocket.
One clean sheet, one attacking return lah. One assist cukup lah.
No, but because if he gets a clean sheet, then it'll show that West Ham under Nuno can keep clean sheets. Yeah, and then we already know his attacking contribution is there. So what's lacking for West Ham now is the clean sheet.
Yeah.
If,
So
if
let you get that, and then people jump into you, and then you got price rise. I think I like that.
but I don't want him to suddenly score this week really, really well and everyone will jump in next week. I want him to score decently well and people still continue to ignore until 3 weeks later, one ball. So
I think I like that. I think I just need to give maybe 1 or 2 weeks to see which asset from that West Ham that really I can rely on. Say Bowen, Paqueta, people mention, but I'm not too sure yet. Diouf looks like it. And if you're on wildcard, Areola could make it as your keeper, probably. So I think that those are the options that people can go.
yeah,
So
Paqueta talked a lot, but not really in people's trust. Ownership of Paqueta is only 2.8. I actually checked. Anyway, okay.
I think Diouf or Tillman, I think that could be an option. Give 2 weeks, then you know. But someone like you have Diouf, I think that'll be excellent.
Yeah, I'm not going to double up on West Ham defense. I think Diouf is enough.
Understand. But the thing is, I like that I said pick. I think that is really different from the rest team that we have.
Very
They are
different.
having right now. Nobody gonna have that. And I would say people suggesting you to drop. I said for Bowen, I think you keep him because this could be the gem that people you're having right now in your team. Okay, great, right?
Yep.
Okay. Farish Danish had to post one question which is interesting. Wildcard this week. Also, he has wildcard. Chip or make transfer to my current midfield. Bruno, Mbomo, Semenyo, Reinder, Foden. He has Foden. Looks decent, right?
Yeah, it looks decent. It's just, just the Foden thing lah. Because it's really now you see it, now you don't think. As to with the
The thing is, he has two Manchester United players, right? Bruno and Mbomo. Is it too much? I think so.
yeah, too much. I agree.
Yeah. I'm not sure how many transfer you have, but if you have 2 free transfer, you can easily move one of Bruno and Mbomo. And I'm not sure about Foden. Kind of not like that because you already Reinder, right? So a lot
correct.
of quantity midfielder. That's what I feel. But if you do not have if you do not yet wildcard, this could be an excellent time, right? I think that's what I can say. I do not know whole your team, so I can't comment on that.
Yeah.
All right, great stuff. I think we come to the end of the stream, man.
Yep. I'm very excited for this week. You know, I think this stretch of matches is when we really start to see, you know, who's gonna do well, and you know, with teams starting to really set, and especially with a lot of those involved in Europe as well as still involved in the Carabao Cup. You know, this is when we're gonna see a lot of swings. Hopefully, I'm on the right side of the swing.
Right, man. Until then, take care, everyone. Do hit the like button and subscribe to our FPL Jedi YouTube channel and do support us. Thank you for watching. And until then, see you again. Take care. Bye bye.